So we are going to start this this new session. So we have Adam from Synamedia, Mozi from AWS. So they will be discussing about what TV can learn from cloud TV. So Adam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Priscilla. Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Davis. I'm Senior Product Marketing Manager at Synamedia. And I'm joined by Mozi Chekruhu, who is the portfolio holder for telco and media distribution at AWS. So hi, Mozi.
Hi, Adam. Glad to be here.
Yeah, good to be talking to you. So today we're going to be talking about the acceleration we're seeing in pay TV and its adoption of the cloud and its transformation into using the cloud, and also what the industry can learn from the cloud experts at AWS. So I want to start by talking about what was happening pre-COVID. Everybody talks about COVID, and of course we will as well. But really, what we were seeing before the world changed and everybody got locked down. And the growth of multi-screen is just accepted. You know, it was happening. We were seeing new services being talked about, being planned. We were seeing service stacking starting to happen, where subscribers and consumers are starting to build up the number of OTT services they've got, leading to audience fragmentation. You know, to understanding where the audiences were going and how we could follow them around. Seeing some increase in piracy as well. So we were already seeing an industry in flux and an industry looking to change, you know, looking to how we could move ahead. And of course, what COVID's done across many areas is brought about a significant acceleration. You know, we're seeing the changes that were already happening at a much greater pace. Certainly, consumers burning through content way faster than they were. And then OTT services starting to provide alternatives to theatrical releases. Certainly something that had been talked about, but something that's you know, certainly accelerated. Improved time to market, new services coming out much faster, changes coming out much faster. And then as we emerged, sport really starting to reestablish itself as a key content area. And scale, suddenly scale was critical, as we saw some customers starting to push up their services much faster to more people because they needed to make sure that they were talking to their audiences during this time. And I think for a lot of people, we've seen a change in or a re-emergence of the understanding the importance and the value of video. Yeah, Omdia today, actually, a new bit of breaking news today. Omdia reporting huge growth in the uptake of TVs. Suddenly there's a reinvestment as people have got more time, they may not be traveling, they're investing in their TV and their video experiences. But of course, this isn't coming alone. We are seeing increases in piracy as user viewing goes up. We're seeing you know, a much more crowded marketplace. Certainly differentiation in content, you know, and how where content's being used, functionality becomes a differentiator as well. So, you know, content may be king, but the platform is now the chessboard on where you position your pieces of content. But I'd love to know, what are you seeing, Mozi, you know, when you're talking to your telco and media customers? How are you seeing those changes take place?
Well, first of all, I think you are absolutely right, Adam, in highlighting the depth of the changes that the TV and media business is undergoing from many perspectives, including from consumption perspective. And this is actually confirmed with a growing number of video service operators asking us for help sometimes to address exploding OpEx costs. In some other cases, the scalability issues that you mentioned, and in some other cases as well, with to help them with the lack of customer insights. So we firmly believe that while these requests are really pertinent and need to be addressed, that what operators are looking for is actually a complete transformation of their video services, not only from a technology standpoint, but also, and even more importantly, from a business angle. So it happens that the cloud is the perfect vehicle for this transformation, in the same way that it is being successfully leveraged in other business verticals, and in particular in the media and entertainment business. So the TV service has to evolve from an experience built to serve subscriber needs from literally a decade ago to an agile and innovative experience that addresses all the particular needs of all generations, ranging from baby boomers to Generation Z, and even Generation Alpha, who are going to have completely different consumption models, where everything is just instantaneous. Everything is based on probably voice recognition, and they are faced with an abundance of choice, so they need very pertinent suggestions. You can't prevail with this coming generation alpha without choice, innovation, diversity, and also a bit of surprise. This is why TV business decision makers have to be considering their options for the year to come in terms of how they transform their business.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as we're seeing new customers consume those new services, at some point we're going to return to some kind of normal, to a new normal, and the challenge then is going to be, how do you make sure that you maintain those audiences? How do you keep them engaged? Where do you move your content around on that chessboard of the platform? You know, so the service providers, the operators, the direct to consumer OTT providers, you know, may have increased their customer base at the moment, but we want to make sure that their audiences aren't suffering from, and I heard this morning on the panels, subscription fatigue. You know, so we need to make sure that we're countering that potential subscription fatigue from service stacking with that differentiation, and speed is a huge part of that. And certainly we've seen it with one of our customers, with eVision out in the Middle East, a subsidiary of Etisalat, being able to launch services at a much greater pace than previously we've seen in the market, really by using the cloud, deploying over a matter of weeks instead of months or even years. And then once launched, as you said, insight. You know, we know the value of data, but data without insight really is just numbers. You know, obviously things like content consumption are important, but understanding how it's being consumed, understanding the devices that content consumption is taking place on, and also making sure that where we're providing the insight that leads to intelligent action, because it's intelligent action that's going to allow us to understand how those services are working, and of course, you know, how the audiences are enjoying them, and if they are enjoying them. So, and of course, this is all part of cloud transformation, but it's, you know, sometimes it can be a bit off-putting. Where do you start with cloud transformation? I'm sure at AWS you've gone through this many times.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. And indeed, there are multiple approaches to the cloud transformation. I would say, first of all, in terms of success criteria, success factors, making sure that you have an executive sponsorship and buy-in to have the transformation on the cloud, it's very important. And the second thing also is that the top executives and decision makers have to set up an aggressive top-down goal for all the teams to achieve this transformation as fast and as smoothly as possible. Once we have these two conditions, it's really important that organizations are trained on the cloud and become comfortable with the concepts as part of the whole process. Typically, there is a Cloud Center of Excellence team who can be trained on AWS network services, media services, hosting services, data science services, etc. And that will help actually articulating this transformation and make it actually much easier to adopt by the organization of the operator. We find most projects start with the modernization of the TV platform or the control plane. So the Synamedia Infinite platform is the perfect fit for this kind of transformations. But we find some other angles like data science, analytics, and AI/ML. These are also great starting points that generate immediate return on investment and measurable achievements. And they are not very disruptive to the existing platform. Another area which is also not very disruptive is that related to compliance, archiving, and regulatory matters, where fully managed cloud services like Amazon Recognition and Amazon Transcribe could help automating a lot of those mundane processes. So these are really good angles of attacks if you would like to understand what the cloud could bring to the TV transformation. But in many other cases, a full-scale modernization makes the most perfect sense. Take an example of an operator with an end-of-life solution that will need to be migrated very quickly. Take another example of a greenfield setup, for example, a mobile operator entering the TV business, and therefore they have no legacy to migrate, which is also a perfect situation. And finally, we can also consider a content owner who wants to enter the direct-to-consumer business and where the cloud is the best option to roll out quickly and scale with reduced capex and risk. So the approach really depends on the situation. You can either go full scale or you can also start by non-disruptive workloads, depending on the risk that you would like to consider.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's existing investment, we may need to take a hybrid approach and identify, what the right service is to transform on. Certainly areas around data, for example, are one to look at. But when that transformation happens, what are the kind of outcomes that you see the telco and media customers getting from that cloud transformation?
Oh, the impacts of the transformation are substantial and they are tremendous on multiple levels. I can just, maybe consider some of these. So the first thing that impresses customers, meaning operators and TV service providers, is time to market. Now, when you deploy a new solution, and you don't have to source hardware and no complex sizing sheets and no long cycles to dimension the platform. And also remember that those months that were spent on dimensioning and sourcing the database and considering the reliability and the redundancy and data integrity, this process is no longer on the critical path. And if we take the example of the Synamedia Infinite platform, which continues to adopt cloud-native database services with instant provisioning, the time to bring that platform to market up and running is really very short and nothing comparable to an on-premise setup. The other impactful benefit is subscriber satisfaction, which materializes in longer subscriber lifetime on the service, increased consumption, and lower churn. We have seen these benefits across the board for all customers who migrated to cloud-based modern TV platforms, literally with no exceptions. And the third benefit is the pace of innovation. Studies show that companies who move to the AWS cloud and adopt DevOps and continuous integration, continuous development type of methodology, they are able to basically introduce new features several times faster than legacy platform. And this is now really the key of having a successful TV platform on the market.
Yeah, and again, we see it from our own experience, Morsey, that better experiences are going to lead to improved customer retention, which, as we said at the start of this, is a key thing. It always is. Keeping your customers happy is always critical, but at a time when we've seen such acceleration in customer uptake of new services, being able to deploy some of those new features and those new functionalities. And we are seeing it with multiple OTT services. We're seeing it with Amazon Prime, for example, with new content going out there. We're seeing it with other services who are bringing in more linear channels and actually starting to recommend content in different ways. So launching those new capabilities is going to be critical to customer acquisition and also customer retention, and then making sure that that scale happens as well, which is very important for sport. You know, this weekend across multiple territories, we're seeing Amazon Prime launch a multi-country sports service with the Rugby Nations Cup, for example. So I think there's a huge amount to be taken from cloud transformation and what Amazon have done. Just to wrap up, where's this going? I mean, you know, if we've learned anything from the past 12 months, don't predict the future, right? But where is Amazon moving AWS? What kinds of features and services can we expect to see coming out over the next few months?
So Adam, of course, AWS is innovating at a very high speed, and we are introducing features and new services and at a very high pace. But I think with the relationship to the TV services, there are probably three trends that we can highlight here very quickly. The first is, of course, data science. We all know without data, without customer insights, it's very hard to really keep up with the customer demand. It's very difficult to predict how your subscribers are going to react to a certain change in the parameters, whether it is a new library or a competitor or a sports event happening. So AI/ML data science is something that has to be really in the top priority of operators. A second trend, a little bit related to that, is the use of IoT technologies. So as you know, we find big operators with millions of subscribers and probably X times the number of devices ranging from the Wi-Fi gateways, Wi-Fi mesh, and then multiple devices. And they need to collect all of this data in a very frequent basis. Typically, we were using like 10 minutes to 15 minutes to collect data. Now operators are looking to reduce that to 10 seconds, literally. And in order to do that, IoT technologies are a perfect fit for that. So we're seeing, you know, continuous investment in this direction in collecting data and having real-time insights about the quality of the service and how subscribers are reacting to different conditions. And the final trend, last but not least, Adam, is the edge cloud capabilities. And as you know, AWS is investing massively, very closely with telecommunications operators in technologies such as AWS Wavelength and AWS Outposts. And what these technologies are bringing is actually the computational capacity very close, very proximate to the subscriber. And these technologies are going to fundamentally change the relationship that we have with a lot of services, and in particular with TV services, where things are going to be much more instantaneous. The startup times are no longer going to be measured in 5 seconds. It's going to be very way below the 1 second. And the latency, it's going to be no longer in the range of 10 to 20 seconds. The latency is probably going to be in the range of 2 seconds, glass to glass. So all of these are going to bring really fundamental changes. And this is where the future is going in terms of new technologies for the TV business.
Yeah, thanks, Morty. And you know, this is where the benefit of that kind of deep and close integration that we have with you guys really benefits our customers. You know, we're able to provide a frictionless path to scale because of the kind of integration that we have. You know, the way that we unlock the benefit of the AWS cloud is through that meshing of the two, making sure that our customers can really leverage and take advantage of the work that we've done together. I know we've got less than a minute left. I think the lesson we take away is the cloud's ready. The cloud is ready for TV. We're seeing it delivered at scale across multiple services. Anything you'd like to close with for the last 30 seconds, Mozi?
I just wanted to say that, we always finish with customer cases, and Synamedia has really great customer cases with Astro Malaysia, who deployed their solutions in order to cope with COVID literally overnight and launch a new service for that. This is something that nothing else than the cloud could do that. And of course, the Synamedia infinite capability of handling multi-tenant solutions. So the cloud is really there. It's available. Just go ahead and let's make use of it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mozi. Great to talk to you.
Thank you, Adam.
And thank you all for listening in.